Now, in an exclusive chat that Minister of External Affairs S. Jaishankar had on NewsX, he has spoken about the ideological battle between the BJP and the Congress. He has stated that while the BJP has taken forward the country through the reforms that have been not just promised but delivered, there is on the other side the Congress that has been pushing India backwards and once again promises to do exactly that if it does come to power. I'm going to start my conversation. Joining me on the telecast is Professor Madhav Nalapath. And my first question to you, sir, about this one point that has been made and the clear-cut ideological battle. And it speaks about how there has been reform that has not just been promised but also been delivered by the BJP. On the other end, he has spoken about Congress allegedly attacking the country's resources, its properties, its savings, the taxpayers' hard-earned money to fill its coffers as it used to be under the socialist regime of Indira Gandhi and then Rahul Gandhi in the 80s and the 90s.
Well, the fact is, Megha, that one of the promises made by the Congress party is that millions and millions and millions of individuals, anybody who wants it, frankly, is going to get a government job. Now, the point is, if everybody has a government job, I think, you're basically got about 1/3 of the population already working for government. The remaining 2/3 also should work. Then the question is, every one of them is going to cost money. Who's going to pay the taxes for all these government jobs? Who's going to be able to meet that expense? And that question has not been answered. So a lot of impossible promises have been made. And the belief is that these impossible promises will be believed and they'll get enough votes to get a sizable number of seats. And I think that is the way they're going about it. The BJP manifesto, the practical manifesto, it makes promises that it is capable of delivering. And most important, Megha, the fact is that so far as the next 5 years is concerned, it's very critical from the point of view of external investment coming to India and generating internal investment. If you have a situation in which people are afraid to invest in India because they're not sure about the stability of the government, or they're not sure about the ideological base of the government, they won't invest. And that's going to cost the country tens of millions of jobs that ought to go to the young people.
Okay. Tehseen Poonawalla also on the telecast with me. And Tehseen, as part of the interview with External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, he pointedly mentioned about this interview. Beg your pardon, this is not an interview, it was a speech that had been given by Rahul Gandhi in Cambridge University a year and a half or 2 years ago, where he has been admiring and appreciating China, and particularly about the CPEC corridor and how he continues to be encouraging of the Chinese Communist Party to build the Belt and Road Initiative passing through India. So when CPEC corridor that runs through the Indian territory in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir is part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, why do you think is Rahul Gandhi praising the same Belt and Road Initiative?
Thank you so much for having me on the show. And I think that the real minister, who also sometimes acts as the foreign minister and tends to go viral more for his comments rather than his actions, should focus on 3 or 4 things. Is it because of Sri Rahul Gandhi that the Belt Initiative is being done by China? It is being built in Indian territory, which is Pak-occupied Kashmir. What is the present government doing? Is Rahul Gandhi holding Modi ji from acting against him? Is Rahul Gandhi on the swing with the Chinese president? Because Rahul Gandhi is in cahoots with China, Modi ji as government was snoozing when 20 of our brave were martyred during COVID. First time in 40 years because of Rahul Gandhi ji. If Rahul Gandhi is to be blamed, then let Modi ji resign and let Rahul Gandhi become Prime Minister.
Because, the interpretation that the people of the country might take if the Congress were to come to power, India Alliance were to come to power, is the same ideology going to be put forth? Will the Congress allow for the Belt and Road Initiative to traverse through India?
So for 10 years that Modi ji allowed it, Modi ji is anti-India, that Congress will allow it? Is Modi ji anti-India? The answer to your question is Why is it happening right now while the strongest man in the universe is Prime Minister? So when you interrupted me, 2 points. If the real minister acts more like the foreign minister, he would realize that there was a screw up and a goof up in Maldives. There was a complete mishandling of situation with China. He would also realize that within our neighborhood, we have an issue with various other countries cozying up to China. Even in Doklam, where our brave armed forces stood eyeball to eyeball with China, the territory has gone back to China. Bhutan has compromised with China.
And
Myanmar,
even then,
as per the
Rahul
government,
Gandhi
Myanmar, as per
continues,
them,
goes to
Myanmar,
Britain and praises China,
No, he
praises
hasn't praised
CCP,
China.
praises
No, he
Xi
hasn't praised
Jinping.
China. No, he hasn't praised China. What he said in that is there is a China model. We are a democratic model. Ours is a different model. You have to look at the Chinese model and understand the Chinese model. Of course, you look at your enemy's model. You look at the Pakistan model, you look at the Chinese model, you look at the American model. NewsX looks at Times Now, it looks at CNN, it looks at other channels because it is a better channel. It's a better channel. So you look at what your opponent's doing and you better yourself.
Okay, I'm going to again point this out.
If you interrupt me every sentence, then you don't need me on the show. If this interview is about,
go ahead,
so then allow me to finish.
I have a successive question, but I'll wait. Yes.
Yes, allow me to finish. You're a fantastic anchor, but I'm sure other anchors, you see what is the thing, you see what is the news of the day. Does that make you anti-NewsX? What kind of logical things does the foreign minister speak about? Like I said, if better focus on his job. We have youth stuck in Russia. We have youth stuck in Israel. Until 2 months ago, the same real minister was encouraging youngsters to go to Israel. Now they enlisted in the army. Now they have removed a notification not to go to Israel. Are these questions going to be asked or not of him?
Okay, all right. I wonder if those are the questions in the minds of Indians living in the country and living abroad.
Am I not an Indian?
Okay.
Am I not an Indian?
But you are also at this point of time speaking as a political analyst, and I wonder which political party do you veer towards. But okay, Rahul Gandhi has also said that a senior Communist Party leader of China helped shape his understanding of China. Should communist leaders of a dictatorship be shaping a leader who aims to become the prime minister of the country in the future, on some day? Do you feel this statement actually warrants somebody who is a leader of the grand old party of the country, at one point of time the biggest party of the country?
Which Communist Party leadership Rahul Gandhi is thinking as per him? Can you give me the name? Can you give me the name?
And what is, I'm saying, what is wrong? What is wrong in Congress pitching Rahul Gandhi as the Prime Minister of the country in the future? That's great. But I'm saying if he is a national leader and if he's going about in foreign soil, he goes to Britain and he says that his ideology, his thought process, his understanding is being molded, shaped by a Communist Party leader of China.
Who is the Communist Party leader? Where did he say it? Who is the Communist Party leader? Give me the name.
I'm going to put that extract out, the excerpt of the speech.
No, give me the name of the leader. Please give me the name of the leader. You obviously don't have the name of the leader. Therefore, you're now going to
Because he's not mentioned the name of the leader.
So
Rahul Gandhi himself has not mentioned the name of the leader, but he has specifically spoken about CCP leader.
Here's the thing. All right. Under Ram Madhav, several BJP MPs went to the CPP and they did training. Why were BJP MPs training with China? Now let me ask you, who's Raju Sabnani? Let's ask the question, who's Raju Sabnani? Why is Raju Sabnani, who was caught for sleazy CDs and ammunition that was deadly, why did Vajpayee ji deploy a diplomat to release him? What is his relationship with fundraising for BJP in China? Let's ask these questions. Now let's ask the more pertinent questions. I like your questions on Rahul Gandhi. Let's ask this question. Don't interrupt me now. Every year, India and China do an operation in Ladakh. Every year, a military operation. In 2020, India did not do the military operation because it was doing Operation Namaskar due to COVID. China was doing the military operation. Indian Tibetan Border Patrol Force, ITBP, sent 20 communications to Amit Shah ji, it comes in the Home Ministry, that there's a Chinese build-up. There were satellite images, 17 that showed the build-up. Why did we not have an eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation there, thus resulting in the martyr of 20 brave hearts? Later on, we killed 400 Chinese. Why was this? Is this question going to be asked of the Prime Minister? No. if there is nobody who's entered Indian territory, why are we resorting to status quo ante? Is this question going to be asked or no? Can we patrol until finger 8? That we used to do earlier on. Is this question going to be asked? Hypothetical questions about Rahul Gandhi, I think, should be asked. Rahul Gandhi is a leader of the leader in the opposition. I really appreciate your questions. I think he should be asked. Why was he eating Chinese in Taj Mansingh? Should be asked. But then, when we had an eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation in Doklam, and Bhutan had to give away that land, will this question be asked or no? Those are the questions that we need to ask.
Okay.
As well.
That still doesn't answer my question. Nonetheless,
I answered your question. I don't know who the leader is. If you tell me who the leader is, I'll give you the answer.
At this point of time making accusations, there was some.
Why will I make accusations on you?
Some leaders
I really
from the BJP who had any associations with the CCP leaders. But does that justify that Rahul Gandhi himself has this association and says that my ideology and my thought process and my understanding has been molded by a leader like that? But nonetheless, one more question.
Again, what is his association? If Rahul Gandhi is in association with the Chinese, I urge that the strongest man in the universe, the Honorable Prime Minister, the second strongest man in the universe, the Honorable Home Minister, come to NewsX, come to your lovely show, present the facts and arrest the guy. Put sedition charges on him. Are you telling me, and I have, again, immense respect for you, I really love your craft. Are you telling me that the Prime Minister and the Home Minister and the NSA and the viral minister, who's also acts as a real minister and a foreign minister, are so not able to catch a man with whom there's evidence that Megha is putting out in her show?
Okay. I'm at this point of time clearly stating and repeating what Rahul Gandhi's speech was at Cambridge. And on that note, now, again, the question that will come to people's mind about if you were to go abroad as a representative of the country and no less than a leader of the opposition, a leader of a national party, and go about saying that your media is sold out, your judiciary is under a boot hill, your constitution is collapsing, but China is very nice and it values harmony. Now, what exactly does Rahul Gandhi mean when he makes these statements?
That was not the context he said it in. He said it that our democracy, the complete statement is under pressure. All democracies are evolving, so is ours. And we need to safeguard and always be alert in democracy. These are our internal battles to fight, and the opposition will fight them. At the same time, while China has a hegemonious sort of a government that tries to create peace on the surface, below there is severe tension. And the only way to beat China is democracy. Now, you chose to select only the parts, not you, the real minister, that suited the BJP. That's fine. That's a democracy. They have a right to do it. But what is the context? For example, if I say that, another channel is a great channel, but NewsX is the best channel, but you only choose to say that, oh, the other channel is a great channel, and I was running down NewsX. I didn't. I'm actually saying, but NewsX is a better channel. You chose not to put that part out. It's as dishonest as that. And therefore, I advise the real minister, stop making reels, focus on your job. Answer, when will our people who are enlisted in the Russian army, Israeli army come back? That's the pointed question. What happened in Maldives? Whose goof-up was in Maldives? Those are the questions to answer. Those are the questions to answer.
Okay, all right. Talking about how the country has been growing in terms of its diplomacy across the globe and the Middle East as well. And we have been doing a great job when it comes to building our association with the Gulf countries. Would you agree to that? Particularly with regards to Saudi Arabia, which is now sponsoring IPL. The Emiratis are announcing investments in Kashmir. They are building temples. One Prime Minister is being invited to Abu Dhabi to inaugurate it. So, how can one say that BJP runs a Hindu nationalist government when all these Islamic nations are vying to come into India, invest in India, be participant in Indian diplomacy and India growth story?
Yeah, to that I compliment the present government. With the Middle East, our relationship is brilliant. It is actually a fantastic job that the Prime Minister has done. And that cooperation has been wonderful. So that he deserves complete kudos. Not just the Prime Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, and the entire government. That part is very, very good. And I think that displays both the reach out of the Prime Minister, his personal equation, chemistry with all of these leaders, and the effort that India has put in. The relationship really took off when Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was Prime Minister, but it's gone to another tangent with Prime Minister Modi, a much higher tangent, a much better tangent, and I compliment him on this. As so far as the Middle Eastern countries are concerned, it is fantastic job that they've done, and I have, though I'm in opposition to them, give them credit for that. That they have served India's interest, and I like that. Where I did find a little bit of initial discrepancy was with Iran, when we were too much in the US camp and we didn't want to. Iran's been one of India's oldest friends, but again, that relationship has been mended completely, and we are friends with Saudi, we're friends with Iran, we're friends with the Middle East, we're making our mark. I think that's fantastic the way with the Muslim world, overall the Prime Minister is dealing. There he deserves complete compliments and complete congratulations.
So
no
then
two ways about
why
it.
do political parties and the opposition continue to attack the BJP, calling it a Hindu nationalist government?
That's not the attack, that's a compliment for them. The attack on the Prime Minister and my complaint on him is he tried to polarize the election by demonizing Muslims. So when you say that Mangal Sutra lekar ghuspaitiyon ko denge, which is a dog whistle for Muslims, when you say chhe bachche paida karne wale, he's not said this the first time, he said it even when he was Gujarat Chief Minister, it's dehumanizing people, and both of us agree, we're both civilized people. There's no space for this. So I'll share something with you. I was very proud, I was very happy and I was very proud that this election was without any communal flare-ups. And I was actually appreciating the BJP that they dropped the hate mongers, be it Biduri, be it Pragya Thakur. The election was being fought on economic issues and the BJP was confident of 400 par. But once the first phase got over, where the BJP realized that they're not doing as well, they've been wiped out in South India and in Rajasthan, where they were expected to make gains. The language used by none less than the Honorable Prime Minister actually shocked me. And as an Indian, I'm speaking, I was mortified with that language. Mangal Sutra kheskar ghuspaitiyon ko de degi. The question is, if they're ghuspatiyas, after 10 years of Modi ji being Prime Minister, why is he Prime Minister? He should resign. That should be the question that's asked. So it didn't behove somebody of his stature. He is the most popular leader in the country. He is the tallest leader. And he believes he's winning this election. If he is, why resort to this? Why dehumanize people? Why call them ghuspaitiyas? Why dehumanize women by calling them chhe bacha paida karne wale? Do you think women deserve it? I ask you, you're a woman. Should you speak? Should this language be used about
Fair enough. There cannot
That's
be
my
polarizing statements that can be made, but I cannot side with you and say that it is only the BJP who has been doing it, because there have been equally castigating, polarizing statements coming in from the Congress's side as well. Only 24 hours ago, there was this new term that was invented, which is called vote jihad, which is again something that pushes you forward towards how it becomes completely two communities being divided for the political vested interests of one political party pitted against the another.
Correct. And I think that's a terrible statement to use. I think Mr. Salman Khurshid's niece used it. And not only do I think it's terrible, again, I think it's dehumanizing. I think she should be prosecuted. I think action should be taken against her. And I hope the Election Commission acts. The hate speech is on my name. I fought hate speech. I think it's terrible. But let's be fair. Who is Salman Khurshid's niece? I don't even know her name. I know she's some Miss Khurshid. I don't even know her name. Can we equate her to what the Prime Minister says? The balance of power is in the favor of the Prime Minister. Again, I'm saying, I don't agree with what Ms. Khurshid has said, or whatever her name is. I think she should be prosecuted. I also am going a step further and saying, not just prosecuted, debar her from contesting. But then, that does not absolve the Prime Minister from saying it. Look, we can all have our differences. The Prime Minister is the tallest leader in the country. He's the tallest leader. Look, he's my Prime Minister, even if I disagree with him, right? I expect him to set the standard. I expect Rahul Gandhi to set the standard. I expect these two people to set the standard. If they do this, I can't equate the Prime Minister to Ramesh Biduri, correct? I can't equate the Prime Minister to Pragya Thakur, right? He's way taller than them. So I can't even equate him to Ms. Khurshid. I think please take action against all these people. But the Prime Minister didn't behave the Prime Minister.
Absolutely, fair enough. Tehseen, also, do you feel as a countryman that there are terror attacks in our country that have now come down? And do you really think that all the dossier diplomacy that was carried after 2008 26/11 attacks really were effective? Or do you think the surgical strikes that were hit in Pakistan more effective a way to tackle terrorism?
So it's not an either-or question, but I will answer that. First, I'm a supporter of the surgical strikes and the airstrikes, complete supporter of both. Even in the airstrike, while we did cause significant damage, I'm saying hypothetically, even if we didn't kill anybody, The fact that we entered Pakistan territory and bombed them with our planes and their radars could do nothing and they couldn't respond is credit enough to the Prime Minister and the government and our Air Force. So kudos to the government on that. घर में घुसते मारे और ऐसे ही मारना चाहिए. But while I give them credit for that, look at Myanmar and look at Manipur. Now, why I use Myanmar? Because it's a friendly neighboring country. Our intelligence failed on it. The government is on record in saying that there's foreign interference in Manipur. Today, the Indian Army said that we've never seen such a situation in any of the states, that is Jammu and Kashmir or Punjab, where there was insurgency. 4,000 people took assault weapons and left their Aadhaar card. The chief minister of Manipur, his tweets were deleted by the PMO because he was making hate tweets. Why were his tweets deleted? What kind of hate tweets are making? And if these weapons are coming from across the border, what is the government doing? The Indian armies repeatedly said, that is the Assam rifles, that the Manipur rifles, which is the local police, is not supporting us. You know the problems the army is facing there. They've said, we've never seen such kind of an operation. Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab, they feel were easier to handle than Manipur. Okay. Don't they think that if the Prime Minister gets credit for Kashmir, which he should get blamed for Manipur?
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, now let me get Madhav Nalapat back on the telecast. Madhav Nalapat, there has been, a number of statements and there has been fair dissection that has been made of the government policies on the basis of the interview that was given by Minister S. Jaishankar and of course Tehseen making his comments. In a situation such as this, now, do you think our people, the citizens of our country, the voters of our country are being influenced by the narratives that are being put forth by the opposition, by the Congress and by the BJP, particularly in terms of, number one, the ideological differences, the battle that has at this point of time been drawn between the BJP and the Congress, and particularly with regards to fighting terror, particularly with regards to the China policy then and now?
Well, I'd like to say that the proof of that will come in the voting. For example, the voting percentage. How high would the percentage be? There are certain, if it's a lower percentage, then the conventional wisdom is it doesn't favor the ruling party. So if the percentage is higher, then definitely the conventional wisdom is it will favor the ruling party. What kind of people are coming out to vote? Are they middle-aged and old people mostly coming out to vote? Are young people coming out to vote? Are different groups of people coming out to vote? If so, which groups are coming out to vote? I think all these are significant factors, and you're seeing them play out. In my view, Megha, what you're hearing is the heat, dust, and noise of a vigorous, functioning democracy. And some leaders have said that we are not a democracy, we are an imperfect, our democracy is being removed, it's being weakened. This election has shown that that is not correct. Now, for example, the Congress party allegation was that democracy under threat in India. And then they won Karnataka. And now, of course, they stick to that same old point. But the fact is, this is a very vigorous election. And it's being fought very, very with a lot of emphasis on both issues, on both sides, the BJP and the Congress. The Congress manifesto and the BJP manifesto are entirely different from each other. Totally different. The Congress manifesto is a government-focused manifesto. Government will do this, government will do that, government will provide jobs. The BJP manifesto is a manifesto where you're talking about the role of the government sliding back and the role of the private sector sliding forward. So there is a difference of day and night between the approach of these two parties and also in their speeches. So I only want to say one thing, Megha, and that is that, it's easy to pinpoint after the fact of what is going on. As far as Manipur is concerned, possibly with you, almost as soon as the Myanmar coup took place, I warned that on the other side of the border, people who belong to a community that is very much there on the Indian side of the border, the same community on the Myanmar side of the border, many of them have fallen under Chinese influence. So please be careful. Don't allow them to come. If you remember earlier, 8-9 years ago, I used to warn about the fact that a lot of people were maybe coming over from Canada, and a certain regional party was very helpful that they should come. But please be careful, because they're coming over, and these people are going to try and create havoc in Punjab. Now, the point is, the government has learned its lessons. Now, the government has learned its lessons in Kashmir, and now you're seeing a situation of calm in Kashmir. 370 went. Thank God for that. 370 was based on two-nation theory. At the same time, as you have the Ram temple, you have a magnificent mosque that's coming up. And I'm very certain that dignitaries from our good friends in the Gulf are going to be present there. So the government has learned from its mistakes, but judging by the remarks made by some of the leaders of the opposition, they have not learned from the mistakes they themselves have made. And my final point I would like to say, Tehseen is very articulate, fine. The point is criminal defamation. Some of us, and I'm sure Tehseen is aware of that because he's aware of my views, for more than 30, 35 years, I've been arguing that criminal defamation statute has no place in a democracy. And yet that statute was kept on the statute books even during the Manmohan Singh government. And the Manmohan Singh government was not a BJP government. So I'd only like to say, Megha, this government at least is learning from the past, from the time before this government came to power, and from some of the issues that it confronted when it came to power. Modi 1.0, 2.0 represents a huge improvement over 1.0, and possibly 3.0 will represent an even bigger improvement. So a government that is learning from mistakes, I think, is very, very encouraging, whereas politicians who forget the mistakes they themselves have made and who believe as though those mistakes can again be repeated, I think that is a real problem. And I hope voters are aware of that when they go to the ballot box.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Nalapat, for joining me, sharing your views. I'm completely out of time. I thank my viewers for watching us on NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.